Hey everybody, it's Miss Johnson. I am going to present a little information to you about how to make compound sentences in 3 different ways. Alright, first of all, we have talked about compound sentences before, and I just want to review that when you are making a compound sentence, you are combining 2 or more independent clauses. Also, we call independent clauses simple sentences, because that's just what they are. They have one subject and one predicate, and that was what makes an independent clause or a simple sentence. Now remember, we've talked about clauses and phrases in the past, and sometimes people still get confused about if a group of words is a clause or if a group of words is a phrase. So I want to review that very quickly because you have to understand that to get your compound sentences right. So remember, an independent clause, also known as a simple sentence, will have both a subject and a predicate. And if you don't remember what those are, a subject is the main actor or thing in a sentence. It is always a noun, or maybe 2 nouns. It could be 2 people, 2 things, but either way, it's the main actors. And the predicate is the part of the sentence that contains the action. It is everything but the subject, and it will always have some kind of a verb. So a clause has to have both of those. Now, just remember that if it's a group of words that only has a subject or it only has a predicate, it's not a clause, and what do we call it? That's right, a phrase. So let's get back to talking about clauses and how to make compound sentences. All right, let's start with our first clause here. Joey sails the boat. This is going to be the first clause that we use in our compound sentence. The subject of this obviously is Joey. And what is he doing? He sails the boat. That's the predicate. The next clause that we'll be looking at to join together with the first one is Sally rides her bike. Sally is the subject of the sentence. Rides her bike is the predicate, and the verb in that is rides. So that is why it is a clause, an independent clause. So let's put these together in the first way. And this is one that I've gone over with you before, and you've learned it, I think, all the way back in 2nd or 3rd grade, but let's just review it. This is where you take a coordinating conjunction, which is also known as, if you don't know what AKA means, it means also known as fanboys. And with those, you always put a comma between the clauses. And to review, you need to know these fanboys. It's for, and, nor, but, or, yet, and so. Easy peasy. So let's take the 2 clauses already that we've looked at. Joey sails the boat. We use the coordinating conjunction or fanboys and of course we put a comma before that. And then you simply write the second independent clause that you had. Joey sails the boat and Sally rides her bike. Subject, predicate, coordinating conjunction with a comma, subject, predicate. Very, very easy. The next way that I'm going to show you about how to make a compound sentence is also pretty easy. It is simply joining your 2 independent or more independent. You could have 3, you could have 4, but you're joining your independent clauses with a semicolon. So you don't need any kind of conjunction at all. You just need the semicolon. So let's look at this sentence. Jason kicked the soccer ball toward the goal. That is a sentence that could stand by itself, but we want to know what happens next. So you could put a semicolon, just like that, and then he scored. So what the semicolon does often is it shows kind of a first-next relationship, or what happened earlier and then what happened later. And the semicolon is useful for that because when you read the sentence, you kind of put that pause in there and then you kind of give the next piece of information. So semicolons can be very useful. And now the last way to make a compound sentence that I want to teach you is with words called conjunctive adverbs. It's a big word. It's a scary word. 2 words. And you'll get used to it. But just let's say it again. Say it with me. Conjunctive adverb. Conjunctive adverb. All right. So what are those? These are words that will show relationships between ideas or actions. And you use these all the time. These aren't words you're not familiar with. You just have never known to call them conjunctive adverbs before. And when you use one of these in a sentence, you have to use a semicolon, then the conjunctive adverb, and then a comma after it. So you've kind of got kind of a big construction in the middle of the sentence. So let me show you what that looks like. Well, actually, before I show you what the whole sentence looks like, here are a few, very few examples of words that can be conjunctive adverbs. Also, besides, finally, consequently, nonetheless, therefore, thus. And there are many, many more words that can function as conjunctive adverbs. Now, here's an example. Joey ran quickly at the track meet. Good for Joey. We could stop the sentence right there. But we want to know what was the consequence of him running quickly in this sentence. So we add a semicolon, the word thus, and a comma. Thus kind of means therefore. So Joey ran quickly at the track meet. Thus, he was the second place finisher, period. All right, so again, we've got two independent clauses or simple sentences that are being joined with a conjunctive adverb that shows a relationship. Remember that words are like actors and can play different parts. It depends how you're using them. So some words will be a conjunctive adverb in one sentence, and they may be a subordinating conjunction in a different sentence, but we'll talk about that another day. But just remember that based on how the word is being used in the compound sentence, you have to determine if it's acting as a conjunctive adverb. And the nice thing is that you always know if it's a conjunctive adverb because it will have the semicolon before it and the comma after it. So that is kind of the big giveaway on that. All right. So when you're writing your compound sentence with this conjunctive adverb construction, you always use the semicolon first, and then the conjunctive adverb you're using, and then a comma. And I try to remember this by just remembering that a semicolon is bigger and more imposing than a comma. So therefore, it gets to come first. So here's our semicolon. There's our little tiny comma. I always think of the semicolon like laughing, like, ha ha, I dwarf you, comma. And the little comma is like, boo-hoo, I always have to come second. But that's just how it is in the life of a comma. So that's it. Those are the three ways that you will use to make a compound sentence. And just reviewing one more time. First way, you can take your two independent clauses and join them with a fanboy with your comma. Sally loves English class, comma, for she learns new things every day. Now, don't we all feel that way? And we're using the comma for is our way we're joining those two independent clauses. Remember, you can use the semicolon only all by itself. Sally loves English class, semicolon. She always learns something new. So just a little different way of doing it. It just helps you kind of make variations in your writing. So you don't always have to use a comma and a fanboy conjunction. That can get boring if that's the only thing you ever do. So mixing it up and using some semicolons sometimes or using a conjunctive adverb sometimes will definitely make your writing a little bit more interesting. And there's the semicolon. And the last way is the conjunctive adverb, semicolon and comma. Sally loves English class, semicolon, consequently, comma. She learns new things every day. So let me read it correctly. Sally loves English class. Consequently, she learns new things every day. So it kind of is linking those two ideas together. There it is. So it's time for you now to practice this with your partner, and I'll give you further instruction. So please go forth and practice your skills, you wonderful children. Thanks for listening. See you next time.